We all have a venue in life. We all have our own personal venue, and we have choices as to where we sit in this venue of life.
It is your show. The best seat in the house is to be an usher. Because when you are living your best life, when you are living in your front row, when you are taking those front row seats because you deserve it and you don't have to have fear or shame or insecurity anymore, you can confidently go to the front row of your life, you show up different, you walk different, your energy is different, and you are illuminating this light that you cannot deny, and people see it without you even knowing it. They see it and they are inspired to get their own front row seat.
So the T in the seat of success stands for you need to have your tenacity at max capacity when handling adversity. Your road to the front row is never an easy path. You will have obstacles along the way. So imagine you have this bucket of your hopes and your dreams and your aspirations, but there are holes in that bucket.
And then below the bucket, what do you see? Those are nails. And those nails are what created the holes. What do you think that nail is? What do you think one of those nails are? Self-sabotaging behaviors or thoughts?
Anyone, just shout it out. Did you say life? It's like, you know what? Why narrow it down? Just life. What else?
HR? For real? That is so funny.
My name is Marilyn Sherman. I'm a motivational keynote speaker. What I bring to an organization are tools and strategies to help them be more engaged, to be more motivated, to have the right mindset, and I increase the chances of their success. From Coke to Pepsi, McDonald's, to the United States Postal Service, to High Point University. I mean, a lot of different brands. And they all hire me for the same thing because I give them the strategies and the tools to work in a more positive environment, set their goals.
And you know why I don't want you to be realistic? Is because if you only set your goals based on something that's realistic for you, you will only set goals as to what you've accomplished in the past, and you will limit yourself to the seat that you're in, and you will deny yourself the opportunity of getting even a better seat.
Somebody said, hey, what brings you to Orlando? And I said, oh, I'm going to speak at this really big women's conference. And this guy looked in my eyes and said,
I love big women.
It's a large women's conference.
I love large, baby.
We've just completed one of our general sessions where Marilyn Sherman spoke, and it was fabulous. I had spent some time with her on the phone prior prepping for this, and I had high expectations, and quite frankly, she exceeded them. The session was engaging, energetic. She's certainly knowledgeable on the topics, and a lot of our participants were really very happy with the result we got and walking out motivated and happy and ready to go back to their workforce and build their businesses.
She's famous as the author of 4 books.
And then I showed this picture to my dad, and my dad is such a guy's guy, such a macho guy. I said, Dad, who is Mom bringing home from the hospital in this picture? And he looked at this picture, and his reaction was very different than I anticipated. He looked at that picture and he said, I remember that car.
My wife and I have a business, and we're kind of beat up. My wife is really beat up, and this was so much for her. And so the takeaways from this are just amazing that we're going to be able to go back and apply to be lifted up. So thank you, Marilyn.
He gathered all the surviving children, and he led them in song to keep them calm until the adults arrived to rescue them. 7 years old. When I was 7, I was learning how not to lick dirt off of rocks. So when the media got a hold of the story, they interviewed him and they said, why'd you do it? Why did you go back into that school and save those children? And this little boy said, it was my job. I am the hall monitor.
Marilyn is one of the best, really impactful.
Best of the best. I loved it.
My guests are a bunch of hedge fund managers, which are very hard people to motivate. But she did a phenomenal job, and I got awesome feedback. Thank you, Marilyn, for doing such a wonderful job at the Global Fund Forum.
When people walk out of my keynote, they are re-engaged, re-motivated, re-energized towards their vision and their purpose. They are on fire, and I love to see that energy when they leave the room. It's as if they can't wait to get back to work.
Marilyn Sherman, she knocked it out of the park.
You don't have to settle for that balcony seat anymore. You don't have to settle. You deserve a front row seat in life, and I want to be the usher to help you get there.
How many of you do not like confrontation? Okay, how many of you every once in a while have to deal with difficult people? And how many of you are sitting right next to them? Well, welcome to this session called Communicating for Results from Conflict to Cooperation. Just shout out, what are they like? Confrontational. Let's bully. They're rude. They're obnoxious. Selfish. Arrogant. Condescending. That's a great word. She says, why do they all have to be negative? Because they are. Absolutely stressful to be around. Are you kidding? If someone is a bully and they're condescending and they're intimidating, of course that would be stressful. There's like no joy in that scenario. Are these people good listeners? Do they have to be the center of the universe? Are they sensitive to your needs? You guys know this, same people I do. So let me give you a little bit of insight on people that I would use to describe as people who exude aggressive behavior. See, I'm trying to not say aggressive people, because every single one of us at any given moment can exude any one of these behaviors. So I just want to remind you of your choice of how you can respond to people and react with people. And the most powerful way to react is not aggressive, unless the ship is going down and you need to get people off the ship. Of course, you got to be, intimidating. You got to be in your face. You got to be, let's go, because it's survival. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you and I interacting in a real professional way in a professional environment. So a little bit of insight. People who are aggressive have a tendency to have a one-upmanship attitude or mindset. One-upmanship. I'm better than you, you are less than me. I count, you don't. I'm more valued, you are less valued. And here's the thing about these people who have this one-upmanship. They're very competitive, and they don't like it when you're on equal footing. So think of someone you know who is extremely passive, someone that you would label them, if you had to, more on the passive end of the spectrum. What are they like? Nonchalant, peacekeepers, timid, quiet, calm, meek, mild. They avoid conflict. Their biggest fear is conflict and confrontation, because they want everybody to get along. They want everybody to be happy. They want everybody to like me. So they will avoid conflict at all costs. Now let me give you some other words to put in this box that may surprise you, because I already told you 3 of these styles don't work. I want you to write down these words. Nice, flexible, accommodating, conscientious. Now I know what some of you may be thinking. Marilyn, I don't understand. These are really nice words. I want to be like that. Absolutely. Absolutely, I want to be like that too. I absolutely want to be described as someone who's nice and flexible and accommodating. But here's the rub. Any good trait taken to an extreme is a negative trait. So it's absolutely good to be nice. I want you to be nice and accommodating and flexible. Absolutely, that's my message. However, not to all people at all times. Because if you are nice to all people at all times, no matter how they treat you, you will be labeled. You will be taken advantage of. You will be the person that people will give their work to, because you don't know how to say no without a tremendous amount of guilt. Someone says, hey, can you do me a favor? You say, sure. Stop saying sure. What I want you to do is say, by the way, write this one down. This one is a money line. Throughout my presentation, I'm going to give you money lines. Money lines are the lines that when you use them at the appropriate time, it is worth the price of admission for the entire convention. So here's my first money line in the morning. If someone asks you, do you have a minute? Do you have time? Can I borrow you for a second? Your immediate response is going to now be, it depends. How can you possibly give them an answer if you have no idea what the scope is of what they're asking you to do? It's not fair to you, it's not fair to them. If someone is wanting something from you and it's going to take your absolute 100% focused attention, but you are in the middle of something, that's not fair to that person. In fact, you can even say to them, you know what, it wouldn't be fair to you right now if I said yes, because I really do want to give you 100% of my attention. Let's set something up at 2 o'clock. Cool, easy. The more emotion you have attached to that which you suppress, the uglier it is when it comes out. Are you tracking with me? If you're hanging on to something because you don't have the courage to be honest about it and you suppress it out of fear, don't want to hurt someone's feelings, don't want someone to be mad at me, don't want someone to not like me, if you have any of that that's suppressing your truth, it's going to come out. It's going to come out eventually. Because your credibility is on the line. And if all it takes is one inappropriate thing to a person, you say the wrong thing at the wrong time, and it's done. It's very difficult to regain your credibility after you've lost it. Have this crutch of saying, but I didn't say anything. Oh, yes, you did. You really did. So if you're in a conversation and it starts to escalate in terms of the hostility level, I want you to check yourself, because maybe you're contributing to that hostility just by the way you are looking at them. Now, significant others, guys in the room, by the way, I'm talking to you. I swear I just saved your marriage. And you don't even need to know what they're talking about. And frankly, you don't even need to care what they're talking about. All you need to do is say, oh, no. And every once in a while say, tell me more. But to me, the word partner means we're all on the same team. We work together. Trying hard to solve something is collaboration, communication, cooperation, not conflict. In fact, I set it up. I said this is a potential conflict situation. But many of you didn't even hear the word potential. You just heard conflict.
Is a culture of hope becoming mainstream? I hope so. And here's why I'm hopeful about this. Recently, I spoke at a conference that was specifically made up of corporate executives. In fact, the conference association is called Chief Executives for Corporate Purpose. And everybody in the audience was from a huge organization, and their sole job is to run the nonprofit giving for their organization, where they collect money, they raise money, and they provide money to all their nonprofit partners. It was so inspiring to hear speaker after speaker talk about what their organization is doing to better their society, to better their environment, to give back to our country. And I was really inspired by that, and that gave me a lot of hope. The second thing that just happened today is there is an economic summit that happens every year in Aix-en-Provence. And just today, they released the theme of this summit. And the theme is recreating hope, where 400 speakers will be coming together for panels and discussions. And they're from all over the world. I'm not one of the speakers. I'm actually attending this event. And the sole purpose of them coming together with a focus on economics is to learn from the past and how societies have been resilient in how they've been able to overcome adversity and obstacles throughout history. Can you believe it? This economic summit where they're bringing people from all over the world, the whole theme is around hope. And what can we do to recreate hope? To me, this brings me hope. So I've got 3 suggestions for you on how you can make a culture of hope more mainstream in your world. Number 1, I want you to keep track of those things that bring you hope. You know, I like to talk about keeping track of your wins, so that will elevate your mood when you're feeling a little bit frustrated. Well, keep track of those things that bring you hope. When you witness something and you say to yourself, wow, that restores my hope in humanity, I want you to focus on that. And when you start to celebrate your the hope that you have, that will help you bring that to work, which brings me my second point around cultivating hope, a culture of hope in your organization. And that is, you lead the way to establish a culture of hope. How do you do that? Well, you celebrate
how far you've come as an organization. You celebrate how far you've come as a team. You celebrate that this is our vision and this is our culture and this is our hope. And when you talk about how far you've come and where you're going, that brings hope to people. That's like, it gives people a reason to show up every day for work. It gives people a reason to re-engage in their work, knowing that what they do makes a difference. So you can cultivate that culture of hope by recognizing people and their efforts in getting your company closer to the vision of the organization or closer to the goals of your team. And thirdly, I want you to be more cognizant of hope around you. I want you to look for it, because when you look for things that bring you hope, I guarantee you will find things that bring you hope. It could be a small act of kindness. It could be somebody that you witness that's overcome adversity in their own life, and that brings you hope. And maybe it's just hope that tomorrow is another day. You've come through a lot lately. You've been through a lot and you did it. So focus on that and realize that if you're having a moment, I don't like to say we're having bad days or only bad moments that people choose to nurse all day, but let's say you're having a bad moment, low energy, feeling lethargic, feeling like there is no light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe the hope for you is there actually is light at the end of the tunnel, and tomorrow is a new day. And every single day you have an opportunity to choose how you perceive that day. And I encourage you to perceive this day, and from this day forward, a day of hope. So happy Front Row Friday, everybody. And I hope for you that you have a culture of hope where you live and where you work.